All right, we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. It is.
Why are you talking to? Why are you talking to? Why are you talking to? Right? Why are you talking to?
It is Chantrelle Lashae. This is the Chantrelle Club.
And I'm Maxwell. And Maxwell, I eat fly. I eat bugs.
Max! Don't be telling people you eat bugs.
And I eat hair.
Max. Get out, Max. Say bye. Say bye. Yes, I have to get started.
I can say bye.
Give me a kiss. Okay, bye. Close the door.
What? Okay.
Okay, love you.
Love you too. What?
Go. Go in there with Bubby. Close the door.
No. Wait.
Anyway, I had to start early tonight, make sure we didn't have any technical difficulties. But in spite of me starting early, I was not going to make my little one get out because it's not 10 o'clock yet. Anyway, this is Chantrelle Lashae, and this is Chantrelle Club, where we are reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is not a place for entertainment, simply a place where we are growing together and being better. And as I've been doing this, I just started back watching some of my videos, and I need to relax. I be a little bit self-conscious and how I look, but I need to chill. This is my own little space, you know. This is Chantrelle Club, so I'm chilling tonight. I'm still in my work clothes because it has been a long ass day, but I'm here and we are going to read chapter 13 tonight. It's only 10 pages, so it'll be a quick and easy read, but it's real good. And we're almost done with the book. We got this much down. And then next, it'll be The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. That one is only 90-something pages long, but each chapter is extremely deep. Oh, I'm sorry, YouTube, Facebook. So that'll be after Think and Grow Rich. And after the book, I'm also going to give an update of like what I have going on versus when I first started and then now. So that's going to be pretty cool too. But I'm going to just do that online on my website. But it's 9:58. We are reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you do not have the book, you can get the link on my website, chantrellelashae.com, and it's also in the bio. Just get the link. But I'm starting to like doing this. I'm finding my own. This place is for anybody who wants to be in my world for, just a couple hours. And I can be in your world. We can be in each other's world, and our minds can intertwine. And this book is really good. I really hope it's at least one person who's following this book like I am. Because when you really do it, it's hard to be consistent, which is why the weekly readings are really what helped me be consistent. But it's a good book. All right, 9:59. Maxwell, Mommy's about to start reading, okay? Mm-hmm. Come give me a kiss.
Mm-hmm. I'm just hiding.
I know you're just hiding. I'll be done in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Oh, bye.
I'll close my door.
Oh, okay.
It is 10 o'clock on the dot, but I'm going to close my door all the way. Okay. All right. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Original book written in 1937. And we are reading it 2019, Chantrelle Lashae with Chantrelle Club. This is a place for dope minds only, people. Understand and respect that. All right, page 302, chapter 13. This is called the brain. A broadcasting and receiving station for thought, the 12th step to riches. More than 20 years ago, the author, working in conjunction with the late Dr. Alexander Graham Bell, and Dr. Elmer R. Gates, observed that every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. Through the medium of the ether, in a fashion similar to that employed by the radio broadcasting principle, every human brain, is capable of picking up vibrations of thought which are being released by other brains. In connection with the statement in the preceding paragraph, compare and consider the description of the creative imagination as outlined in the chapter on imagination. The creative imagination is the receiving set of the brain, which receives thoughts released by the brains of others. It is the agency of communication between one's conscious or reasoning mind and the four sources from which one may receive thought stimuli. We're on page 302 for anybody who's just joining in. On the last paragraph. When stimulated or stepped up to a high rate of vibration, the mind becomes more receptive to the vibration of thought, which reaches it through the ether from outside sources. This stepping up process takes place through the positive emotions or the negative emotions. Through the emotions, the vibrations of thought may be increased. Vibrations of an exceedingly high rate are the only vibrations picked up and carried by the ether from one brain to another. Thought is energy traveling at an exceedingly high rate of vibration. Thought, which has been modified or stepped up by any of the major emotions, vibrates at a higher rate than ordinary thought, and it is this type of thought that passes from one brain to another through the broadcasting machinery of the human brain. The emotion of sex stands at the head of the list of human emotions as far as intensity and driving force are concerned. The brain, which has been stimulated by the emotion of sex, vibrates at a much more rapid rate than it does when that emotion is quiescent or absent. The result of sex transmutation is the increase of the rate of vibration of thoughts to such a pitch that the creative imagination becomes highly receptive to ideas which it picks up from the ether. On the other hand, when the brain is vibrating at a rapid rate, it not only attracts thoughts and ideas released by other brains through the medium of the ether, but it gives to one's own thoughts that feeling which is essential before those thoughts will be picked up and acted upon by one's subconscious mind. Ooh. Hopefully you are following me. No, Max. Oh, yes. Pause. You're welcome. My door kind of loud. That's what we'll call it. All right. Okay. So hopefully you was following along. Hopefully it didn't sound like... Hopefully you was following along. Thus, you will see that the broadcasting principle is the factor through which you mix feeling or emotion with your thoughts and pass them on to your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the sending station of the brain through which vibrations of thought are broadcasted. The creative imagination is the receiving set through which the vibrations of thought are picked up from the ether. Now, honestly, if I never... Oh, my fly is down. It's been down this whole time. Oh, and my thing is on 10%. I should still be good, though. But anyway, if I had never... Well, I assume anyway, if I never studied about the ether and the law of attraction and energy and how it travels and radio broadcasting, if I had never read about that before I read this book, this might be a little bit like, what the fuck is you talking about? For me, I think. So if it's like that for anybody who reading it, just read like, well, that's really why I'm reading the Science of Getting Rich after this, because the Science of Getting Rich reading that first helped me understand Think and Grow Rich a lot more, because it breaks it down in a more deep form, I guess. You'll see when we read it, but I just wanted to throw that in there. We are on page 304. First paragraph, really. Okay. Along with the important factors of the subconscious mind and the faculty of the creative imagination, which constitute the sending and receiving sets of your mental broadcasting machinery, consider now the principle of autosuggestion, which is the medium by which you may put into operation your broadcasting station. I'm going to read that again for me. Okay. Along with the important factors of the subconscious mind and the faculty of the creative imagination, which constitute the sending and receiving sets for your mental broadcasting machinery, consider now the principle of autosuggestion. Autosuggestion, remember, was the key to this entire operation right here. Autosuggestion. Basically telling yourself every morning and every night your one goal that you're focusing on, because we can only really focus on one thing at a time, no matter what anybody say. My fly is like, okay. Anyway, that is important, and I have to keep, because I was slipping with saying it every morning and every night what my goal was. That statement that we had to write at the very beginning of this book, I think it was like chapter either 1 through 4, one of those. It wasn't 1, I think it was like 2, 3, or 4. But you're supposed to write your goal, write out your statement of what you wanted to accomplish and give it a time limit. And I had wrote mine and I lost it, honestly, and forgot about it, and then it mentioned it again in the book, and so I started doing it again, and then I forgot about it again. And just I read this earlier in a week, but it was like a week before that I was like, okay, I need to really do auto-suggestion, because that's what the whole book is based off of. And just as soon as you start really practicing it and believing it, when you start doing it, you be like, damn, shit start happening real quick. If you just be just a little bit patient and have just a little bit of faith, just tell yourself every morning, every night, this is my goal. Everything that's happening right now is drawing me closer to this goal that I'm holding in my mind. Everything that's happening to me, everything that I'm being presented with, is all drawing me to this goal. Just keep that one goal in your mind and make sure you say it out loud. You read it out loud every morning, every night. More if possible, but definitely every morning when you get up, every night when you go to bed. Just if you can just commit to just doing that. No matter how crazy your goal is. If you think it's too crazy for you to believe even the slightest bit, then take it down a level. Maybe you need to accomplish a smaller goal for you to just believe in the process itself. And then you can go to a bigger goal. It's okay to start small. Some people do start big and get it right then and there because they believe that big. But some people got to take baby steps, and that's okay too, because you're not in a race with nobody but your damn self. So Just make sure you're doing that auto suggestion, because that's the key. If you're not doing it, it's really a waste of time, and it's just gonna make you not believe when you're not doing it the right way. You got to really hold that goal, and the point of auto suggestion is basically just holding the goal in your mind. In your mind, and remember the first thing on your mind in the morning, and then the last thing before you go to bed. I don't know, it's just something about those times. I'm sure it's a scientific reasoning behind it, but just do it, you know, and just watch what happens, because it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. But you got to keep believing. When one thing happens, you can't be like, all right, cool, I'm going to just stop. No. That's what I be messing up too. Soon as that one thing, you know, one small baby step happen, you got to still hold the big goal. Keep holding the big goal, because you still have other things that got to lead you there. Don't fall off track. Don't get, you know, distracted by anything. Keep your mind on your one goal. Your one goal. If you focus your shit on your one goal for 30 days straight, just focus on one thing for 30 days straight. Every morning, every night, think about that goal. Every morning, every night, every morning, every night. Stuff will just start happening. Just 30 days. And when those 30 days pass and you accomplish something, set another goal. If you accomplish that goal, cool. If you accomplish something that help you get closer to that goal, cool too. I'm going on and on. I'll go back to reading now. I was really talking to myself though. All right. We basically made page 304. This Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Through the instructions described in the chapter on autosuggestion, you are definitely informed of the method by which desire may be transmuted into its monetary equivalent. Operation of your mental broadcasting station is a comparatively simple procedure. You have but 3 principles to bear in mind and to apply when you wish to use your broadcasting station: the subconscious mind, creative imagination, and autosuggestion. One more time. The subconscious mind, creative imagination, and autosuggestion. The stimuli through which you put these 3 principles into action have been described. The procedure begins with desire. The greatest forces are intangible. The Depression brought the world to the very borderline of understanding of the forces which are intangible and unseen. Through the ages which have passed, man has depended too much upon his physical senses and has limited his knowledge to physical things which he could see, touch, weigh, and measure. We are now entering the most marvelous of all ages, an age which will teach us something of intangible forces of the world about us. Perhaps we shall learn as we pass through this age that the other self is more powerful than the physical self we see when we look in a mirror. Sometimes men speak lightly of the intangibles, the things which they cannot perceive through any of their 5 senses. And when we hear them, it should remind us that all of us are controlled by forces which are unseen and intangible. Okay, I'm going to read that paragraph again. Sometimes men speak lightly of the intangibles, the things which they cannot perceive through any of their 5 senses. And when we hear them, it should remind us that all of us are controlled by forces which are unseen and intangible. The whole of mankind has not the power to cope with, nor to control the intangible force wrapped up in the rolling waves of the ocean. Man has not the capacity to understand the intangible force of gravity, which keeps this little earth suspended in midair and keeps man from falling from it, much less the power to control that force. Man is entirely subservient to the intangible force which comes with the thunderstorm, and he is just as helpless in the presence of the intangible force of electricity. Nay, he does not even know what electricity is, where it comes from, or what its purpose is. Let me read that again. Okay. Man is entirely subservient to the intangible force which comes with a thunderstorm, and he is just as helpless in the presence of the intangible force of electricity. Nay, he does not even know what electricity is, where it comes from, or what its purpose is. Nor is this by any means the end of man's ignorance in connection with the things unseen and intangible. He does not understand the intangible force and the intelligence wrapped up in the soil of the earth, the force which provides him with every morsel of food he eats, every article of clothing he wears, every dollar he carries in his pockets. The dramatic story of the brain. All right, so we are reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This is Chantrelle Lashae, and you are in Chantrelle Club, my place of peace, where I can read my book, and anybody who wants to intertwine with my mind for this time can come on. Okay, so Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Excuse me. We're on chapter 13, The Brain, at the bottom of page 305. If you don't have the book, the PDF is on chantrellelashae.com, as well as the bio for my Facebook page. All right. The dramatic story of the brain. Last but not least, man, with all of his boasted culture and education, understands little or nothing, which, remember, this is 1937 that this book was written, of the intangible force, the greatest of all the intangibles, of thought. He knows but little concerning the physical brain and its vast network of intricate machinery through which the power of thought is translated into its material equivalent. But he is now entering an age which shall yield enlightenment on the subject. True. Already, men of science have begun to turn their attention to the study of this stupendous thing called a brain. And while they are still in the kindergarten stage of their studies, they have uncovered enough knowledge to know that the central switchboard of the human brain, the number of lines which connect the brain cells, one with another, equal the figure 1, followed by 15 million ciphers. The figure is so stupendous, said Dr. C. Judson Herrick of University of Chicago, that astronomical figures dealing with hundreds of millions of light years become insignificant by its comparison. It has been determined that there are from 10 to 14 billion nerve cells in the human cerebral cortex, and we know that these are arranged in definite patterns. These arrangements are not haphazard? Don't know. They are orderly. Recently developed methods of electrophysiology, draw off action currents from very precisely located cells or fibers with microelectrodes, amplify them with radio tubes, and record potential differences to a millionth of a volt. So that was a lot, and I'm not about to pretend like I know everything that they just said, but basically the brain is like electricity, or like electricity. If you read Hegel and Emerson on the brain waves and how radio waves transfer through the ether, it's pretty fucking dope. It's like, why are we not studying this shit? This is the good stuff. But anyway, at the bottom of page 306, it is inconceivable that such a network of intricate machinery should be in existence for the sole purpose of carrying on the physical functions incidental to growth and the maintenance of the physical body. It is not likely that the same system which gives billions of brain cells the media for communication one with another, provides also the means of communication with other intangible forces. I think I should read that again so you can get that question. That was a really long sentence. Okay. Is it not likely that the same system which gives billions of brain cells the media for communication with one another provides also the means of communication with other intangible forces? Yeah, okay. After this book had been written, just before the manuscript went to the publisher, there appeared in the New York Times an editorial showing that at least one great university and one intelligent investigator in the field of mental phenomena are carrying on an organized research through which conclusions have been reached that parallel many of those described in this and the following chapter. The editorial briefly analyzed the work carried on by Dr. Rhine and his associates at Duke University. I got an itch. All right. So this is what the editorial read. We are on page 307, by the way. What is telepathy? A month ago, we cited on this page some of the remarkable results achieved by Professor Rhine and his associates in Duke University from more than 100,000 tests and determined the existence of telepathy and clairvoyance. God, I forgot to pronounce that one. I practiced this too. These results were summarized in the first two articles in Harper's Magazine. In the second, which has now appeared, the author E.H. Wright attempts to summarize what has been learned or what it seems reasonable to infer regarding the exact nature of the extrasensory modes of perception. This is back in 1937 now, so we in 2019. The actual existence of telepathy and clairvoyance, I don't think I'm saying that right, but correct me if I'm wrong, now seems to some scientists enormously probable as a result of Ryan's experiments. I'm just chopping this poor little sentence all up. The actual existence of telepathy and clairvoyance now seems to some scientists enormously probable as a result of Ryan's experiments. Basically, they believe telepathy is real. Various recipients were asked to name as many cards in a special pack as they could. Without looking at them and without other sensory to access them. About a score of men and women were discovered who could regularly name so many of the cards correctly. There was not one chance in a million of their having done their feats by luck or accident. But how did they do them? These powers, assuming that they exist, do not seem to be sensory. There is no known organ for them. The experiments work just as well at distances of several hundred miles as they did in the same room. These facts also dispose, in Mr. Wright's opinion, of the attempt to explain telepathy through any physical theory of radiation. All known forms of radiant energy decline inversely as the square of the distance traversed. Telepathy do not, but they do vary through physical causes as our mental powers do. Contrary to widespread opinion, they do not improve when the recipient is asleep or half asleep, but on the contrary, when he is most wide awake and alert. Ryan discovered that a narcotic will invariably lower the recipient's score, while a stimulant will always send it higher. The most reliable performer apparently cannot make a good score unless he tries to do his best. One conclusion that Wright draws with some confidence is that telepathy are really one and the same gift. That is, the faculty that sees a card face down on a table seems to be exactly the same one that reads a thought residing only in another mind. There are several grounds for believing this. So far, for example, the two gifts have been found in every person who enjoys either of them. In every one, so far, the two have been of equal vigor, almost exactly. Screens, walls, distances have no effect at all on either. Wright advances from his conclusion to express what he puts forward as no more than the mere hunch that other extrasensory experiences, prophetic dreams, premonitions of disaster, and the like may also prove to be part of the same faculty. The reader is not asked to accept any of these conclusions unless he finds it necessary, but the evidence that Ryan has piled up must remain impressive. In view of Dr. Ryan's announcement in connection with the conditions under which the mind responds to what he terms extrasensory modes of perception, I now feel privileged to add to his testimony by stating, my associates and I have discovered that we believe to be the ideal conditions under which the mind can be stimulated so the sixth sense described in the next chapter can be made to function in a practical way. Stimulate your mind, Craig. The conditions to which I refer consist of a close work alliance between myself and two members of my staff. Through experimentation and practice, we have discovered how to stimulate our minds by applying the principle used in connection with the invisible counselors described in the next chapter, talking about the sixth sense, so that we can, by a process of blending our three minds into one, find the solution to a great variety of personal problems which are submitted by my clients. The procedure is very simple. We sit down at a conference table, clearly state the nature of the problem we have under consideration, then begin discussing it. Each contributes whatever thoughts that may occur. The strange thing about this method of mind stimulation is that it places each participant in communication with unknown sources of knowledge definitely outside his own experience. And that's so true. You know, you ever been like with a group of people and y'all just talking and it's like, damn, it's a good ass conversation. I don't even want to leave. Like, this is better than, I don't know, whatever, good food. But you can kind of feel your mind being stimulated when you're in a real good conversation. And that's like half the reason people go to bars, honestly, to have a good conversation. I mean, if you don't have good conversations at the bar, you need a new bar. All right, anyway. If you understand the principle described in the chapter on the mastermind, you, of course, recognize the roundtable procedure here described as being a practical application of the mastermind. This method of mind stimulation through harmonious discussion of definite subjects between three people illustrates the simplest and most practical use of the mastermind, which is what I am aiming for with Chantrelle Club as a mastermind. By adopting and following a similar plan, any student of this philosophy may come into possession of the famous Carnegie formula briefly described in the introduction. If it means nothing to you at this time, mark this page and read it again after you have finished the last chapter. Oh, there's a quote after. It says, "The Depression was a blessing in disguise. It reduced the whole world to a new starting point that gives everyone a new opportunity." The end. That was bomb. So, I have a couple of thoughts, actually. I was talking earlier about global warming, and somebody asked my thoughts on it. And I was basically, my belief which this is real random, but I just feel the need to say it anyway, so I'm going to say it. But I believe global warming is just the sun's energy being misplaced. I believe the earth, it grows just like humans. We grow, we transform, we grow, we renew at some point in our life multiple times. And the earth is done with the coal stuff, you know, the electric companies and shit. The sun is powering our earth. We should be a whole solar earth. The sun gives off plenty of energy for us to power our earth every day. All that extra heat, it's not going to the right place, so we all hot as fuck. But if we used it the right way and powered our entire earth through solar, then we would create a whole new world. Just imagine a solar powered world. That would basically eliminate third world countries. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gets some sun. Everybody gets some goddamn sun. Just imagine what the world would be like if everybody was winning. If the whole world was winning. What we could do. Like what we could create as human beings instead of beefing with one another. But that's just my thoughts, because everybody was kind of looking at me like, this bitch crazy. But whatever. Those are my thoughts. Chantrelle Lashae. This is the Chantrelle Club. This is a place for dope minds only. Understand that. Respect that. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I'm over and out.